Welcome to Prescribing Lifestyle, the podcast that's all about empowering you to live your healthiest, happiest life. I'm your host, Dr. Avi Charlton, and each week we'll dive into the latest research, practical tips, and inspiring stories to help you optimize your well-being. From nutrition and fitness to mental health and mindfulness, we'll explore every aspect of lifestyle medicine, giving you the tools you need to make informed decisions and take control of your health. Whether you're looking into preventing disease, managing chronic conditions, or simply elevate your quality of life, Prescribing Lifestyle is here to guide you on your journey to wellness. So, sit back, relax, and get ready to embark on this transformative adventure towards a healthier, happier you. Let's dive in. Hello, welcome to another episode of Prescribing Lifestyle. Tonight I have a beauty for you. I've got Kate Safe. She's a dietitian and exercise physiologist, founder of Be Fit Food, winner of Telstra Business Award 2022 for championing health, and a very passionate dietitian. And I'm going to ask her to introduce herself. Welcome to my podcast, Kate.
Thank you for having me. I've been looking forward to this, and I'm so passionate about what you do, and equally as passionate about food and what I do. So, thank you.
Thank you. You're a founder of Be Fit Food. Tell us a bit more about your background and what inspired you to start Be Fit Food.
So my background, I'm a dietitian, exercise physiologist and diabetes educator, and I started practicing around 20 years ago now, and over the course of the first sort of 5 to 10 years of my practice, I started to recognise that you could give people advice and you could support them and help them to do it on their own, but sometimes life just got in the way, and I found the biggest hurdle for at least 50% of my clients was just not being prepared with their meals. And it didn't matter what support or what education or advice they had, they just were not organised, and that led me to develop a home delivered meals company so that I knew I could just take that inconvenience away from them, and all of, I guess, the stress that comes with meal planning, meal prepping, food shopping, cooking, cleaning, all of that. And I believe that we need to do it sometimes, but life does get busy and may get in the way other times.
That's awesome. Great. I actually ordered a pack of 7, and I've had 2 meals on Monday, and they were yummy. I had a satay chicken and I had a lamb koftas, and they were quite yummy. I took them to work.
Oh, fantastic. And I guess you asked me what inspired me, and I think when I look back to it, I had my own health journey as a kid. So from the age of 2 to 20, I was in and out of hospital all the time, or really until 19, and they didn't know what was wrong with me, and then they stopped really looking by the time I got to 8 because I'd had every test imaginable, and it wasn't until I was 19, had my license, was still getting unwell, and occasionally it'd be so bad I'd have to call an ambulance, and once it was, on the side of the freeway, all those sorts of things, and I'd go to hospital, they'd give me, anything to knock me out, get me out of pain. And this particular time they said, I want to send you for another scan. So I went for my first MRI. Unbeknownst to me, I'd never had one. And I only know, looking back now, MRI only came to Australia in the 1990s, and all of my testing had been in the 1980s. So by the time I had this test, I'd actually been working all evening. I'd been at uni all day. I'd gone home after having the scan in the morning to sleep for the day because I'd been working in a bar, and I've woken up to 7 voicemail messages saying that I needed to get back to them straight away. So I turned up and they said, you've got a tumour in your bile duct and we need to do emergency surgery. And I guess my passion for food came from a very early age because I was always told there was nothing wrong with me and it was what I was eating that was making me sick.
Oh, no. So, wow.
As you can imagine, I wanted to know what this food was that was making me so sick all the time. It turns out it wasn't food at all.
No.
So, that was I guess, my passion for studying nutrition, because it was something I had to look at all day, every day growing up to try and work out how do I not get sick, and I had no answers.
Did you go into nutrition straight away after year 12 or into
Yeah,
uni?
straight after uni. Yeah, I signed up for biomedical science and I got in, but my first preference was nutrition and dietetics. I missed out first round, got in second round. So I couldn't have been happier because it was my sort of lifelong dream as a teenager. And,
Oh, wow. Great.
yeah, and then, did the double degree, then went on to did my master's in clinical exercise physiology, because I think the more I learned about nutrition, the more questions I had about metabolism and the human body. And then I did the diabetes education because I couldn't understand why medication was used in conditions where food and exercise could manage the conditions. I do now because I have life experience and I understand why, but it just didn't make sense to me that with type 2 diabetes, if you could change your diet and you could move more, why did you need the drugs? And that was my reason for studying that course, because I couldn't understand.
Yeah. Great. And you're still practicing as dietitian, diabetes educator?
I do in a different way. So with BeFit Food, I guess my role there is certainly I'm the CEO, so I do everything.
Yeah.
But, always keeping up to date with everything and studying and lots of presenting work. But my other company has a general manager in it that does all of the consulting side of the business in various hospitals and medical centres, and that's just whilst I'm working on the product side of the business.
Yeah. Good. Yeah, so what challenges have you faced when you're starting BeFit Food?
Well, the very first one was moving from a service-based business where I guess for me, I give people my full attention, I do my very best job, I keep up to date with the science, and your work as a service provider is often a reflection of you and how hard you've worked. Whereas moving into a product business, you could come up with the best products, but you were physically never going to chop every ingredient, pack every ingredient, seal it, put it in the box and hand deliver it to someone. So at any point in that process, things can go wrong and they're completely out of your control. So there was a lot of learnings for me that in product, you can't control everything. You can try. And learning the different aspects of the business. In service, more often than not, it's one-on-one, or you might have some group sessions. But with product, you're often talking to audiences you don't even know you're talking to, because it's through e-commerce, it's through, we're in all the Woolworths stores, we're also in IGAs, Richies, lots and lots of stores, some Priceline. We're in lots of Chemist Warehouse stores, Terry White Chemmart. So I think our product is on display in retailers, on the website, and it's just a much more complex business model.
Wow, yeah, so many places you're marketing to.
Yeah, and I guess the joy of that is you get more exposure, and our goal is ultimately to change the health of Australia, and you have to be able to get in front of people. And our newest channel, being the pharmacies, is a great way to get in front of people, because people are coming in for a health condition. And then when you've got over 1,000 people lining up at a cash register a day, and you've got the BeFit Food freezer right at the front of the store, you've got that ability to market to them, to talk to them. As long as the messaging's clear, there's that ability to reach more people. That through e-commerce, they have to Google search you, and you have to be, paid up with all your Google search terms and your SEO and your digital marketing, and you're only as good as what you pay for there.
Yeah, that's what I'm learning now. It's so much to learn about Google and SEO, and it's so tricky.
Yeah, so good content is key, but if you're not putting money behind it, sometimes it's hard to be seen as well. So it's nice to have that omni-channel where you've got a bit of retail and a bit of e-commerce.
Yeah. So your food is mostly low carb, isn't it? Because that's what I'm advocating to my patients to eat.
Yeah, so Everything that we do, every single meal is under 20 grams of carbs. So the meat-based meals are under 15 grams of carbs and the vegetarian vegan ones are under 20. Some of them as low as sort of 2 to 5 grams, depending on the meal. But our key focus is a whole food diet. So making sure that we're not using processed foods, no added sugar, artificial colours, flavours or sweeteners, and making sure every meal has 4 to 12 different vegetables. So hopefully then someone can meet all of their nutrient requirements, their vitamins and minerals, and get their fibre. And then we encourage them on the side of the meal to add extra salads and veggies, because that's the lifelong habit. Once they're not eating our meal, we want them to keep having their 2 cups of low-starch veggies and salads with every meal, regardless of what protein or fat source they're having. And then they're encouraged to have the healthy fats with their salad and veggies on top of their meal as well.
Yeah. What sort of healthy fat are you talking about?
Whether they're having their avocado, olive oil, nuts, how they're cooking, what they're putting on the vegetables. So just making sure, I guess, that they keep to that whole food principle. And I think the most simple thing is if it's as close as its form that it comes to nature, then eat it. And if it's highly processed or refined, it doesn't matter what's in it, just don't eat it.
Yeah. That's what I tell my patients as well. Make sure it's whole food.
Yeah.
Make sure it's protein and healthy fat and really reduce the carbs.
Yeah.
Lots of veggies, and that's what I talk about as well.
And it's satisfying, isn't it? Everyone can do it. It's just that initial first step that's hard. And I think practicing like you do as well, the first time people try and do it themselves, they'll always have a little bit of a struggle with letting go of some of the carbohydrates and they think that they're not feeling as full or as satisfied. But over time it gets easier, and the ready-made meal part of that for me helped those people overcome that initial barrier not to serve the bolognese sauce with pasta or not to serve the stir fry with the rice. So just giving them everything they need until they get used to it for 1 to 2 weeks, then it's easier for them to replicate to do on their own. But it gets them started.
Yeah, and it's convenient for sometimes.
Yeah.
Like I've got people that are traveling a lot and they might have nowhere to cook, no kitchen. And if they take a stack of your meals, then that's all the meal sorted.
Absolutely. And particularly on nights, I think that you get home late, it's all well and good to have these things in the fridge or freezer ready to cook. But if you're getting home really late, the temptation is to go and open the pantry or the fridge and look for something you can just go hand to mouth.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So how does BeFit Fruit differentiate from other meal delivery services? Like I think Light and Easy is quite very low calories, do you think?
Yeah, look, we are very different because of the premise that we started on. The whole reason we started the company was for health improvement. So our company will continuously evolve every year to follow the science to make sure people get the best outcomes. We are not fixed on one particular thing. And I think looking back at some of the competitors, they are either focused on calories rather than nutrient density or macronutrient balance or anything like that, or they're absolutely hooked on macros, but they don't care where the macros come from. They don't care if they're processed or they're whole food or...
Yes.
So for us, it's about having predominantly plant-based diet with the right amount of protein and healthy fats that people get everything they need, they feel satisfied. And with that premise in mind, we didn't start the company as a money-making business. It was actually started to solve a problem, which was to help the people that had already spent hundreds of dollars, maybe thousands or tens of thousands over a decade seeing dietitians and getting advice, but not being able to do it on their own because of that barrier of meal prepping and food shopping and portion controlling and just getting started. So we really started to solve the problem at the individual as opposed to coming up with a great idea to make money and starting on cost and working backwards. We certainly started on the person and the problem, what we wanted to create, and worked forwards the other way. And so we're slightly more expensive, but not really given the quality of what you get, and it's all Australian made and the best quality produce too.
Yeah, great. Awesome. And I see in your booklet that there's different types of program available.
Yes. So realistically, every meal that we have is a building block. So every meal is around like I said, under 15 grams of carbs if it contains meat, and over 20 grams of protein if it contains meat. And the reason for picking those numbers was knowing that if someone had 3 meals a day, they're sticking to under sort of 50 or 60 grams of carbs maximum a day, and it may be a lot less if they're choosing lower carb options there, but they're getting an absolute minimum of 60 to 100 grams of protein a day, depending on what they're having with their meals, and then if they're having protein-based snacks as well that we offer, or we've got a prebiotic, probiotic, whey protein product that we call a protein booster. It's not to replace a meal, it's just to make sure that people that have higher body weights or higher energy requirements because they're training or they're trying to gain muscle mass actually meet their requirements there too. So, yeah.
So great. So you think have a meal and then have the protein booster, is that a shake?
It's a whey protein, whey concentrate blend, and we blended it like that to make sure it was low lactose, and then we added prebiotics and probiotics for gut health. And it's just a really clean shake with all natural ingredients, even natural flavours with the chocolate and the real vanilla bean. Just something that if people are going to the gym, and to stop that rebound hunger sometimes, having that after the gym, or if people have problems at night time where they just want to pick or they want something sweet, it gives them something to have that fills up the stomach, that stops them eating. They have that, and surprisingly they really don't need anything else. So it wasn't something we started with in the range because I'm a real advocate for chewing your food. I don't like getting calories from liquids. However, I just found that it was a great way to stop people from snacking on the wrong things and to feel satisfied.
I think chewing is so important. Good for your teeth, good for your facial development, as well as digestion as well.
Yeah, and like you said with programs, if people just think that each meal is a building block, they choose how many meals they need per day based on their goals. So if they want to lose weight, then having their 3 meals a day and the 2 protein snacks that we provide in our either 7, 14 or 28-day programs, that will give them that significant kickstart on their weight loss. However, if their goal isn't to lose a lot of weight, then they complement that program with extra healthy fats and just use it that way. Or they can add on a 4th or a 5th meal per day, or add on entrees, so they're having a larger portion meal. So they might have a high protein soup followed by a high protein meal as opposed to just having one small meal. But we tend to find that customers are pretty smart, that if they bulk up their meal with extra veggies and salads and some healthy fats, they're very satisfied with the meals.
Yeah. I suppose you can also add a boiled egg or 2.
Yes.
Or you can add some cheese.
Some cheese,
Yeah, that's a healthy fat.
It really is so easy when you're educated, and I think you've obviously got a well-educated group of people that follow you and that you help with as well, so they'll know what to put on the side, and I think that's important. Don't be afraid to add to it. We're just giving the base to take away that meal prep.
Yeah, that's great. That's awesome. So I've got 5 more meals sitting in the freezer, and I'll just slowly eat it when I need it.
And that is an important point too. We do snap freeze all of our meals. Initially, we actually produce them what people call fresh, but fresh really shouldn't be called fresh because as products age, they're not fresh anymore. So they're cooked on day one, and if they're not frozen, by the time they get delivered to someone's home, they're not fresh anymore. Even if they've been treated with different atmospheric pressure gases and nitrogens to try and preserve them to tell you you've got 10 to 14 days on it, it's still not fresh. So in my opinion, The only way to have fresh food if someone else has cooked it for you is to freeze it straight after cooking it, because you lock in the nutrients,
Yeah.
you stop the growth of any pathogenic bacteria that can cause issues, and you actually preserve the DNA of the food and the bacteria on the food at the time of the cooking when it's fresh. So from a human gut perspective, we know that's really beneficial for the gut microbiome, and it's the way nature's meant to have the food. You either get it from the plant or the tree fresh, or you freeze it, because freezing doesn't change the nature of the food in any way, and it's safe, and it's been done for well beyond we've been around, I guess. So many centuries, and you think of fossils and things like that. Like, you can preserve things for centuries if you freeze them. So it's just a safe way to preserve food without adding anything to it. And it also allows you to have the whole food ingredients. So a lot of meals that are chilled have to use fake chicken and processed meat because of the high risk of salmonellas and how short the shelf life is. So you'll often get that really white chicken that can be a really processed chicken, and that may not be easy to see from the label because they cover it all in sauce.
Oh, okay. Very tricky. Lots of thinking behind it.
Yeah, so in my opinion, frozen is the best because you're getting the highest nutrient levels with no risk.
Yeah, I see. Great. What are some of the most rewarding moments since you started BeFit Foods?
I think it is the stories every day, and without fail, somebody shares something on social media, or even today I got a really lovely text message, and this particular man has actually done 28 days, and he said the biggest change for him was his mental health. He said, yes, I've lost over 5 kilos and I feel amazing. He goes, actually, I feel like Superman. That's what he wrote in his message.
Yeah.
He said, but the change in his mental health, he just could not have imagined that would happen. And it's something that for the last 10 years, every single day, if we pick up the phone and someone says they've been on the program, the first thing they say is, I can't believe how good I feel. So it is a feeling more than anything else. And it's very hard to bottle up a feeling or market a feeling or sell a feeling, but that is what people talk about. It's how they feel, and they feel that they have more energy, they feel better about themselves, they don't feel tired anymore, and I think that's the most rewarding part, is knowing that without fail 100% of people, if they stick to it, get results, 100%, and that's something you don't see on any drug trial, or you don't see that very often. I think those sorts of results come from exercise and food. They're the two things that make you feel amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if they're eating whole food, they're not eating the processed foods anymore, and they've got rid of their junk food and sugars, and they're probably losing weight, and all that added up, that makes them improve mental health, lose weight, and they feel amazing that way.
Yeah, so I think that's the thing I like the most. And aside from that, we've won the Telstra Business Awards now twice, which was a really lovely celebration for my team. So I think more so than even about the business, just rewarding the people that work in the company every day to say you're doing a really good job, and that's being acknowledged not just by the customers, but what you're doing for Australian businesses and small businesses. So that was really nice too.
That must be really rewarding to win those awards.
Yeah, it's lots and lots of fun. And the only other thing that's a bit of a blast in our story was actually going on Shark Tank in 2017.
Yeah.
So
I did hear the story. Tell us the story about it.
I guess it's not what people think. So we literally auditioned a year prior, and my business partner at the time said to me, it's not a good idea to go on this. It'll be career suicide for any professional. Don't do it. Okay. So we pulled out. And then the following year, I said, I really want to do it. I think not only for the investment, but to get a mentor, to get someone who knows how to really scale a business. So I was in it to get Janine Ellis as a mentor, and Fortunately, out of the 100 episodes that were made, only 50 got deals on air, but only 3 of us ever saw $1. So it actually took about a year, how many months? 10 or 11 months from when the show was filmed to when we actually got the deal done. And it didn't go to air for 9 to 10 months. And we just thought this is never going to happen. And when it did happen, I guess it was a really, really good feeling because we'd gone on television and it blew all of our expectations. We expected we might have a bit of growth, but we literally grew 1,500% overnight. My team in 4 weeks went from 5 to 63 employees. So it was mind-blowingly great for, kickstarting us and scaling the business. There was a lot of pain in those first 6 months to really catch up with everything to scale the business, and it probably took 2 years to rebuild all of the systems that we'd sort of surpassed and to build something that was scalable. And at that stage, we were only in Victoria and we expanded nationally within a few months. So we literally deliver home delivery all across Australia except the Northern Territory at this stage. So a lot of learnings, a really good experience, a really tough experience, but I don't have any regrets.
That's amazing. Yeah. So you didn't know that you were going to get the deal from
No.
Until when it got aired?
After it went to air, we finally got through the due diligence process. Prior to it going to air, we couldn't get through due diligence because I guess if you can't show that the business is in high demand and that it's growing, people don't want to invest. Whereas the moment that people knew we existed because we finally had some PR and some marketing, then they wanted what we had. And I knew, I think, as a health professional, how many people this would help because all of my clients wanted it and it was helping all of them. But how did I, communicate that to an investor? I guarantee you anyone that walks through the door that is looking for help with their food will be very happy to outsource some of their meals if they get the results. So if we could guarantee results, then we knew we had a market. And we don't put guarantees on food, but we help people. We give them support on the side of the program to make sure that they get the results.
That's amazing. Well done.
Thank you.
That's a very inspiring story. So you're a busy mum.
Yes.
You've got kids, isn't it?
Yes.
How do you manage business and home life? You sound like such a busy lady.
Do you know what? I think I'm so grateful every day because I've got the help of my family, man. My husband at the moment is literally running around with one daughter and picking up the other one from gymnastics. So my girls do lots and lots of sport. So that sort of helps because they're really occupied with what they're doing. And my husband and I both have our own businesses, very separate. So I think there's that general understanding that we're both busy all the time. However, we just have to make it work. And the biggest learning, I guess, or one of the biggest learnings I got from Janine Ellis was she told me to always have your workplace within a short distance of your home. And then that way you could be around for things. And I really value that advice because the temptation was to move our head office closer to the CBD or move it into state where, all the action was. However, that would mean you miss everything with your family because you're already at work at least 8 to 12 hours some days. But if your family are within 10 kilometres or, you know that you get to see them in the morning or before bed or you can be there, be there if you need to be there. So I think that really helps. Yeah.
And do you cook your meals?
I do. So I've just cooked chili con carne for the family tonight and much to my husband's despise every week. He looks while I'm cooking and I'm like, don't look while I'm cooking. He's like, you're not going to put all of that in there, are you? So it's got zucchini, carrot, onions, tins of tomatoes. It's got red kidney beans, black beans. It's got the minced meat, obviously, and lots and lots of different spices. I throw them in there to get that really nice, fresh sort of Mexican flavour. And then we have it with some avocado and salad, and the kids have their tacos, but my husband and I are pretty low carb. So,
Okay.
yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yummy.
It's quick and
Sounds
easy,
yummy.
and it's got plenty of leftovers, so it lasts for days.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Great. What are the future plans for Be Fit Food? What do you think how are you going to spread more message?
So it's really important for us to make sure that even people that are more marginalised in the community that can't necessarily afford to pay up front get access as well. So we've been working with the NDIS, so we've got accreditation there. So
Yep.
80% of the meals are actually covered by the NDIS. We've got home care accreditation for people that have home care funding. 70% of their meals are covered. We've actually got on to the top sort of 20, I think it is now, private health insurance companies where they're actually rebating our programs. So people get $50 of food a month over the course of a year. And for that $399, they're getting $600 worth of food, but they also get their appointment with the dietitian every month, and they get that ability to claim it through their private health insurance too. So they can claim it
under dietitian.
Either dietitian or the ancillary care, which is where you can claim your first aid certificates and those sorts of alternative. There's a bucket for other things with most insurance. Yeah.
I might have to look into my private health and see if I can claim some of your food.
Yeah. So eventually we'd love to be on the Medicare PBS. We know that the results that we get even within 2 weeks of people being on the program actually exceed what they would get on any medication. So for us, it's about just showing people how to do it with them for the first 1 to 2 weeks. Once they know it works, then educate them to do it on their own. So our program is not a subscription. It's not something that people sign up to for life. It's really something where they come in, they've lost all trust in food because it hasn't, helped them in the past to achieve their goals. We help them have a more positive relationship with food again, and then we teach them how to do it on their own. And that's where having GPs like yourself that specialise in low-carb diets that actually take the time to work with people and to do all the pathology testing and to keep that lifelong healthy, happy client is really important. So we've got a health professionals directory on our website where we list anybody who wants to be recommended to look after our clients for life, because we're there to help them with food when they've got a busy period or perhaps when they've gone off track or they want to reset. And then we want them to be put into the community where there is this ongoing lifelong support. So that's ultimately our goal.
That's great. Yeah, that's fantastic. I must check that I'm on that directory as well.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and if you're not, we will get you on there.
Oh, great. All right. Fantastic. That is awesome. How do people find you, Kate?
They go to befitfood.com.au or they can go to our Instagram, BeFitFood Australia, or our Facebook, and we even have a closed Facebook group with about 7,000 members in there where they can have a conversation with anyone and everyone who's done BeFit Food, uses BeFit Foods, tried it, and they can ask questions just to the other customers in there, or they can go to my LinkedIn, so Kate Save, so S-A-V-E, and everything that I talk about, I do Ticker TV every single week. I've got a digital series that we made with the guys from Bondi Vet called 28 Days That Changed My Life. That's on YouTube. So people can watch 8 people that go through life-changing health journeys on there too.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
I'll check that out. What's it called again?
28 Days That Changed My Life. That's a YouTube series. And then Ticker TV, Ticker, Ticker TV or Ticker News. Every Thursday I have a live segment on there on a different health topic, and everything from the gut microbiome and inflammation and immunity, low-carb diets, alcohol, caffeine, the truth about anything and everything, processed food, sugars, just keeping up with new science that's coming out and making sure people know what's going on in the world of health and nutrition.
Yeah, awesome. I'll put all the links in the show notes.
I'd love to have you as a guest on my show at some stage. So
yeah, I would love to. Thank you.
Fantastic.
Awesome. Thank you for coming on to my podcast, Prescribing Lifestyle, Kate.
Thank you for having me, Avi. I'll look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thank you. And thank you, all the listeners, for staying tuned. Until next time, we'll have another guest or another topic to talk about. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Prescribing Lifestyle podcast. Before we wrap up, I have an exciting news to share. I have a new ebook called Low Carb Made Easy. It's now available. This guide is perfect for anyone looking to dive into the low carb lifestyle. Inside, you'll find the basic theory behind low carb eating, a detailed food list, practical meal plan, and a variety of delicious recipes. It's designed to make a journey to better health easier, simpler, and enjoyable. For those who prefer a hard copy, head over to my website and register your interest using the link provided. My website is www.mlcclinic.com.au. Head to online store. Remember, the information shared in this podcast, it's for educational purposes only and not proper medical advice. Always consult your medical professional before making any changes to your lifestyle and diet, or you can come and see me in Melbourne Low Carb Clinic. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and stay connected with us on social media. Your feedback will help us improve and reach more listeners. Lastly, if you found this episode helpful, please share it with your friends and family. Together, we can make a positive impact to our health and our communities. Thanks again for listening, and as always, stay healthy and happy. Until next time.